Fridays, people are just getting there, it's kind of slow and everything, and I'm used to doing like a Saturday one, so this is it's more intimate crowd here right now. There's like a ton of people in line just trying to get in right now.
Well, they'll be trickling in. They'll be coming right on in. But this is a fantastic way for folks to all get their questions answered, and I certainly have a slew of questions for you myself. For those of you who know, it's the same drill as usual. We've got our volunteers in the back there. You can just go ahead and get yourself right in line, and I'll ping pong. The lights are brighter this year, so you guys will have to.
Really bright.
They're really bright.
I know you guys are on the screen. I got such a cool DVD I put together. I should sell it. I put together like 14 chapters of editing I did of myself and different moments of Hercules. Like Hercules fighting with other bodies. Like I pick up the smallest stunt guy and beat up other people with his body. Or episodes where I just get the crap beat out of me by the gods or whatever.
Yeah.
The last one is 8 different women I kissed on
What's the music?
It's a Tom Jones all-liner kiss.
That's good. You know, in addition to...
I got paid for that.
beating the crap out of people, you did that yourself. You inflicted some damage on some folks, quite by accident, because they gave you apparently real swords. That was a mistake.
That was a mistake, and it wasn't me inflicting the damage. It was Michael Hurst who played Eolus.
Sure.
When we, at the end of season 2, we introduced the Xena character. They didn't know for sure. We did a 3-show arc. They didn't know at the time if they were going to make it a series or not. They had a time slot that opened up behind my hour, and they said, okay, let's give this a shot. We'll do like a female Hercules type show. So, introducing the character, when her character sort of shows you how stupid men are. When Michael Hurst falls for Xena and turns against me, and I told the writers, but that wouldn't happen. But we had to go along with it anyway. So we had to do this big fight scene. And Michael and I, we love doing our own stunts. And Peter Bell, our stunt choreographer, put together this amazing fight with Xena and all her bad guys around in a circle around us. And there was a move where I got to do a 360 spin, and we had swords. And,
real swords. Well, real bell.
Stupid. And there's when I do this move, so I'm 6'3", Michael's about 5'5". So
he still has an inch
when I go down and did the spin, I felt, and during the rehearsal, I felt the sword go right there. And I took to Peter and said, I don't like that. Let's get rid of the move. And Michael goes, oh Mike, I'm the New Zealand fencing champion. Don't worry, Mike, everything will be fine, it'll be fine. On the very first take, he clocks me. I'm down on the ground, woke up in the hospital, they put me out, I was out. Had a concussion, had to put a dozen stitches in the back of my head, open it up. Thank God he hit me with the flat side of the sword. Had he hit me like that, I may not be doing the speaking here right now. And when you do a stunt, whenever you do a stunt, you watch Jack Chan, anybody, when you do stunts, they will always look at the person. If you're coming in for kind of a kick, anything, whatever you're doing, you're always looking at that person's face. You keep eye contact with them. Michael's like this when you watch the retake.
And that explains it.
Oh, man.
How did he land a fencing championship with that?
I have no idea.
Well, we're glad you're here.
I have no idea.
Let's go ahead and toss it over there.
I got to tell you, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, go for it.
We did 5 2-hour movies before it became a series. Anthony Quinn played Zeus. But I had to do this, with this scene, this 380-pound powerlifting champion of New Zealand, this big fight scene. God, it was mammoth. And not too smart. He's like, well, yeah, but if I hit him, I can really beat him. I said, it's called acting. Very first take, this guy comes on punch, he clocks me right here. Sawed off the back of my teeth, back of my molars and stuff. I was spitting on my teeth and blood. I stood up, I was moving off the back going, what am I gonna do? The guy's a mountain. The guy was so huge. But he did it on purpose.
See,
I gotta show him oh man.
Is he actually in the final cut, or did he get excused from his role?
They did, they got rid of him. But they used the nail takes. So fun bloopers at my expense.
Exactly, the footage exists. That's good, that's
God.
super good.
I know.
Let's go for a question over there.
All right, I got 2, and they're both about Andromeda.
Oh, I love that show.
Yes, it's a
Oh, wait, I can see it now. God, that guy is just, I feel like the cop. Stop! What? Go ahead, mate.
So the first one is, we all know that over the course of a season, the crew becomes like a family. what is your favorite family prank from Andromeda?
My favorite family what?
Prank, or cast prank.
God, there were so many of them. You know what made me mad is that I got to a point where I tell people, the continuity lady, I said, make sure they print that, where there was a mistake on, by accident, mistake on purpose. And I say, print that, it's very funny, just keep it in there. But there was one scene where the Magog are entering the ship, and they're taking it over, and I put in the full battle armor with the extended force lance dildo thing. And that's another story. And they had a problem with the door. To get the door to work or something, I don't know what's going on for me to come out. I'm supposed to come up and backlight behind me and just blue smoke and just all this dramatic stuff. So it got to a point that it got so hot in this outfit, and it was like, seriously, it was like 45 minutes. It was going forever. They couldn't get it. So, okay, I tried it. Okay, we got it. You sure you got it? So, because I'd waited so long, I set up a prop where I took a small box, and I took a newspaper, and I sat down in the box, I pulled down my pants and took off all the armor, and I was sitting like this, like the newspaper. So the door opens up, and I said, can the captain of the ship have some privacy, please? But we did. There was all kinds of stuff. Tyr Anasazi, he liked to lean in every scene. He leaned in every scene of the drama. So the other 6 actors in the show, when he comes running onto the key down to the cop, when he comes running onto the ship to say, he's got an emergency scene with us. All 6 of us found someplace in the Eureka Morrow and just over-leaned. And Keith comes running in, and he's like, stops, gets his dreadlocks out of the way, and goes, screw all you people! We had fun at his expense.
You said there was another question?
Yeah, I was also wondering if you used any fictional or non-fictional captains to inform your role as Dylan Hunt, your character Andromeda.
I got a call, it was the end of season 7 on Hercules. I got a call down in New Zealand, that's where I shot Herc. I shot Andromeda up in Vancouver, BC. I get a call from Major Rodgrave, who I'd never met before. Well, I knew who she was. Turbo boobs, there's Chapel, And so she says, my husband wrote a show back in 1969. And it's the first captain he ever created with Captain Kirk, was Captain Dylan Hunt. And I said, stop. She says, what? And I said, yes, I'll do it. She wants to tell me. I was a big Star Trek fan. I mean, when I was in college, we had 10:30, 11 o'clock reruns of Twilight Zone. 11 and 12 was Star Trek, and that's what we did in college. And yes, Mom, I'm studying really hard. I gotta go, But it was really just in the writing. I went to their house in Bel Air, California. I got to sit at his desk. He kept it the same as it was when he passed away in 1992. And he had at his desk, she still had papers on there with all these other ideas for other shows. And it was interesting just to look at it, but they had 5 renditions of the Enterprise next to me. This little, about a foot long, each of them, boom, 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 until they get to the one they used in the series. And I looked at it and saw the morphing of each one, and I looked at Major and I said, would you miss it if I took one of those? And I'm sure Rod Roddenberry is all of them. I'm sure he could get a lot of money for any of it. But no, I didn't. I think it was just in the writing itself. I mean, I don't think. I've done Comic-Cons. I mean, it's funny now that I go to Shatner's house and watch Monday Night Football. We're friends now, I was a little tiny kid when the show's on there. But it's funny with him and Patrick Stewart, I've been in the middle of both of them at conventions. And then, if we're standing up to do a group shot or something, I look at them both. And I say, you realize my captain could kick you guys' asses? You know that. So. Shatner's a hoot. We just did a show together recently in Little Rock. We were just in Little Rock together. It was fun. We had a good time. But he goes out, man, we go to restaurants. Don't bug him when he's eating. No, I bug Shatner when he's eating. But he tries everything on the menu. Oh, Kevin, you gotta try this. You gotta try this. It's pretty funny. But it's entertaining. He's got great stories.
One of the things, I was a Star Trek The Next Generation fan, hugely, and the show holds up really. I still watch it, and the episodes still work in today's day and age. And I'm certain, even though it's been a long time since I've rewatched the original Star Trek, the same holds true. How do you view Andromeda holding up? Have you had a chance to do the rewatch?
Here's the thing. Well, my kids are starting to watch it now. They'll watch Hercules now and stuff. They're watching. You do a show like Hercules or you do a show like Andromeda or Star Trek. The fact, because they're either in the future or in the past, they don't age. I mean, the thing that ages them maybe is certainly the visual effects. And I get it. Those change daily. But when there's shows like that, those seem to hold up more. I think what people like about Hercules so much was we follow, mythology and stuff, but they like the humor in it. We had so much. Michael and I ad-libbed a lot of lines on that stuff, and even on Andromeda, I started going almost, and every time we break through a commercial, I'd say one or two things that was never in the scripts. When 1,000 ships are coming at me, and I go, it's never easy. And then I break through a commercial. But they started writing in the scripts, and they saw me doing it anyway all the time. But we always, Michael, I always come up with stuff. There was an episode where I finally got to wear a different outfit for the first time. Never got to wear a different outfit. And our Nyla Dixon, our wardrobe, she went on to win the Academy Award for Lord of the Rings. I mean, she's great. And I said, Nyla, can I get something? Those pants, by the way, were 3 layers of leather. They weighed 12 pounds. Neither is kicks in it. Not counting the boots I had on those things too. But I've got 3 of the 5 original costumes, which is kind of cool. I've got 3 of the 5, yeah.
Do they still fit?
Oh yeah.
He's walking around the house like, hey, buddy.
Well, I'm a good 20 pounds lighter than those days. I was 225 when I was in the series, but I still work out. I don't want to lift like that anymore. Because I was doing that all through my teens and 20s anyway. I played football in college, but I'm old now, so.
What position?
I was outside linebacker. So I used to like to hit people, but I mellowed.
And now they hit you.
I saw you look at the Old Testament, God's very angry. Jesus, the New Testament, he's a pretty mellow dude. Have a kid.
I am
Changes your perspective.
For a question over there, but you touched on something and it got me thinking. I know that you directed episodes of Hercules. Did you direct any of Andromeda, and is there a compare and contrast?
I couldn't.
Okay.
I wanted to, but I got executive producer credit on it. So I had final say in the edits on Andromeda, I got final say in the cast and all that kind of stuff. But because of the tax credits up in Canada, you can only have one of those slots filled in. And I fought it big time. Because I knew if I directed, they're only giving me maybe 2 or 3 a year. As an exec producer, I had a lot more say. But I mean, trust me, I missed that part. Because you have to have, you take an American show to Canada, 75% of the cast has to be Canadian. The second lead, first lead can be American, the second lead has to be Canadian and has to have the second most amount of words. They count the bloody words. 17, I only got 60, it's like, are you kidding me? But that's what they do. But, and the cast has to be Canadian, if you want the full credits. So I did a 3-show arc on Supergirl a year and a half ago or so, and they had more Americans on that, but they lost, it's like, there's a bump. You get the full 35%. I mean, look, if you got a $10 million movie up there, and they're going to give you $3.5 million back by following all the rules, it's called show business, right? It's not show, so it's a business. They take advantage of it.
What was it like directing Hercules, and how would you compare that to what you're directing these days?
Well, feature films are a different kind of beast.
You have more freedom almost in the sense that Hercules was already on the track.
Well, in television, the gods of the show are the writers. In movies, it's really the director. The directors have more say. I don't know why, it's just kind of the way it is. I did an episode of The Commish. You guys remember that? Michael Chiklis? Ow! And I flipped like a sentence or something. It still made sense, but because I flipped it, the entire crew, they shot that in Vancouver as well, the entire crew just froze. And the continuity lady said, well, it sounds right, but you said it wrong. And they go, well, we gotta call Mr. Canal down in, Stephen's band. I said, no, just run the thing. I'll just say it the way you guys want it. It just came out that way because it sounded natural to me. And they said, no, it works, but we're gonna ask him. They shut down for a half an hour to track him down in his writing offices in Hollywood. And he came back and just said, say it the way it's written. I said, you wasted just 30 minutes. I said, I'm ready to go. Keep the camera rolling. But it's weird. It's a weird deal. But when I direct, I'm smart enough to know to put people around me that know their job better than me. I'm not like a dictator on set. To me, it's like let the people do what they know the best. And my crew already knew me. For Hercules, my crew, I mean, we're on our 3rd season. And like I said, they're like family. They really are. You spend more time. I mean, we're shooting 12 to 14 hours a day. And thank God I was lucky in both those series. They have amazing crews and so much fun. My crew in Andromeda, they came from, most of them were from X-Files. I mean, they were 21 Jump Street and then X-Files. And then they came to my show. So I got lucky. I worked with some amazing crews. But they loved me on that show because Hercules was a killer. I was 16 to 18 hours door to door every day because I would lift the weights an hour and a half, 2 hours at the end of every day. On Hercules, on Andromeda, I said, you give me 12 hours door to door. If I leave at 6 in the morning, I'm home at 6 at night. And so my crew, usually on a show like X-Files and stuff like that, by Friday, your call time is 4 in the afternoon and you shoot till 8 o'clock Saturday morning. Every day, they were home by 7 o'clock. Every day. So they said, this is awesome. I said, I got dinner with my family. I see them, yeah. So I just, and we were a more contained show. I mean, if you watch, Stargate Studios were just down the road from us. And if you're Stargate fans, if you noticed, every planet they go to, it's frickin' Vancouver. Beautiful mountains and green trees and, you know. I mean, we use more green screen. I said, let's, you know, we're on a planet that's not America or Canada. So if I give those guys so much crap. They all came on the show. They guest starred in the show, a lot of those guys, Michael Shanks and those guys. So.
People don't always realize how grueling it is to do episodic television. There was a question over here.
Hi. I have really enjoyed the Mythica movies, and I was wondering how that project came about for you, and also a fun story from set.
Mythica is sort of, I play sort of like a Gandalf type of guy. He just pops around. They wanted me to be in more of those movies, longer and stuff, but I've been busy shooting a lot of movies since Andromeda finished. I actually just finished my 61st movie. So you got some catching up to do. It's disappointing. People go, have you done anything since Hercules? Or but I do a lot more independent movies, and I call them actors movies. I mean, I love a good $300 million Avengers movie too, folks, but it's a great roller coaster ride, but I like movies that are actors movies where you can relate to characters and make you laugh, cry, and relate and whatever. So they called me up, because I worked with those guys before. They shot that up in Utah, Provo, Utah. So I worked with them before. In fact, I got some at my table. I don't have many left, a couple of them already, but I have all 5 movies on one DVD set. And the very first movie I did with these guys, it was in February. You know what weather's like here in February. Put us at 14,000 feet February in Provo, Utah. And I'm wearing this bloody robe. They're all dressed in North Face stuff, where you can just little see their faces a little bit and stuff. It's 25 below zero. And I said, this is not fun. And it reminded me of an interview I saw with Sir Michael Caine years ago, when they said, at this stage in your life now, when you look at the script and how you decide, he goes, well, if I open it up and my character that first says, he's trekking along the landscapes of Antarctica, I close it and say, no, thank you. I'm not doing that. So, it was fun.
He's there with it right up until it gets cold or raining. He's like,
I'm done. I'm done.
We open on a beautiful tropical beach. Solid.
I'm up for that. I did a movie called Soul Surfer at the Bethany Hamilton store, if anybody saw that. Lovely movie. She was on set every day. She was 13 years old and she lost her arm to a tiger shark attack. And we had 2 months in Hawaii. And Dennis Quaid and I each had about 4 days off a week. And we're both avid golfers, and we were basically a par 5 away from the golf course. So we golfed every day we had off together. It was a blast, but it didn't suck to be there. And actually, season 5 of Andromeda, when we were just wrapping up season 5, I still had 2 months left to shoot. The guys from Lost called me up for a regular on that series, and I couldn't do it because they were starting filming then. So I think I ran like 6 years. It was 6 years in Hawaii. You kidding me? I would have loved that. It was killing me. Because Tom Selleck's a good buddy, and I grew up watching Magnum, and I said all those years, sitting in Hawaii, I said there's worse places to film. Trust me. So I did an episode of Y50. That was fun.
Out of curiosity, who is your favorite celebrity to golf with?
My favorite celebrity to golf with? Wow. That's a good one. Because there's so many good guys in that. There was a celebrity league for a while that they had top 100 celebrities, including Not athletes, it was entertainment. It was whether you're in a band or whether you were an actor, that sort of thing. And I was ranked number 7. I'm pretty good stick.
Oh yeah, that's
I
nice.
played with everybody from Arnold Schwarzenegger Arnold Palmer. Arnold wouldn't have Schwarzenegger wouldn't have a swing. Arnold Palmer to Tiger Woods. I played a lot with Tiger Woods as well through the years. I'd say the favorite one to play with is probably Patrick Warburton. You guys know Pat, right? Pat, he's a great guy. He's the first guy I met when I moved to LA. We met on a golf course at a driving range. He's from California, boy. I'm from Minnesota, and we just started talking and have been friends ever since. You know?
Who's a better golfer?
Me.
I was wondering if he was going to pick someone who might be better than you.
Quait's pretty good. Quait and I are pretty head-to-head. The best is Jack Wagner, if you guys remember Jack from Melrose Place and soap opera and stuff.
Yep.
He's by far probably the best golfer of all. He's beaten pros in events. He's pretty good.
I need to get to work. Oh, that's my question over here.
Hey Stephanie, what's up?
Hi, oh hey, how are you? She is one of our, she's over there, and she is one of our.
You should put him in the middle here, I can see.
Comic-Con, we'll talk about, I'll see if we can get him to dim the lights. Sorry,
Or have him come right up here.
sorry you're the guinea pig on this. But she had a heart attack and she is recovering health-wise, and she is one of our sort of long-standing Comic-Con attendees. She comes to every
I'm
panel.
glad you're back.
Yep. So,
Yeah,
there she
I
is.
actually survived this heart attack for you.
There you go.
Well, I'm great at CPR. You go down again.
And I've also been a fan of
And
yours.
she-
I've also been a fan of yours ever since I've seen you in Murder, She Wrote for that 2-episode parter. And
Yes.
talked about the
I got a story about Angela Lansbury, but I'll tell you later.
but I saw that episode when I was about 9 years old, and I've been a big fan of yours ever since.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that you did a dancing episode and a modeling episode of Hercules with Michael Hurst as the Madam Twanky.
Yep.
I was just wondering, did you think of Michael Hurst when you were doing your little dance thing in Meet the Spartans?
That's funny. We did a spoof on 300. I got to backtrack that story. I moved recently from California. I live in Florida now. I got tired of paying 13.5% of every dollar. Snow state tax in Florida. I live sort of out of LA. I'm a good 30 miles out. 30 miles in LA is going to take you 2 hours. Great traffic. So I had a meeting in the morning and a meeting later in the afternoon, so I had like 3 hours to kill in between. And a buddy of mine said, you gotta go see 300, it's awesome. So I went to see it, I enjoyed it, loved it, it was cool, it was awesome. But I'm sitting there going, the whole time during the movie, it was a matinee, like 1:30 matinee. And I know, this is Spartan, and he's so serious and stuff. All I could think was, they have that giant hole in the middle. How many dogs and kids fall down that hole every day? You know, and kicking guys in, the bad guys and stuff. So I said, this movie should be spoofed. It's a perfect one to spoof. 3 weeks later, I get a call from the guys who did the scary movie, epic movie, date movie. They said, Kevin, we got a part for you. We'd love you to play this part, and we're going to do a spoof on 300 called Meet the Spartans. I said, yes. They said, man, we're the same guys the stunt guys that they used in the movie. They shot that in Montreal. We shot down in New Orleans. I loved it, you know, spraying the abs on us and stuff. It was an absolute hoot, and they liked it so much that they came back after they cut the movie together, and they said, we're going to do a Dancing with the Stars kind of ending to Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive. And so they built the American Idol set. They built the set at the Paramount lot, and we all did it, and we all sang and did our different parts on it, danced around. It was hilarious. Got to go to the Widow's Wedding. We saw Michael do that on stage. That's his mom. That's him spoofing his mom. And he said, "We got to put this in the show somehow." Got to Hercules. And it was the first episode Michael directed. So I couldn't keep a straight face because he's wearing this blue wig and he's got these fake boobs. Yeah. And he's trying to give me direction. There's shots from our set photographer there. I'm just sitting there looking at him trying to not crack up. And there's a great scene in there where we're talking about the wardrobe that this little teenage girl I'm dancing with, because she's picked on, she's bullied by the town. I said, I'll dance with you. So it makes all the other girls all jealous and stuff. And the end scene is hilarious. It's like I'm using her body to beat up the bad guys while we're dancing in tango. But there's another ad-lib line where I looked at Michael and I said, Michael, we got to get this in. When he says, we got to get a new outfit for you. So I threw in the line, I said, yeah, but this is all I ever wear. And he says, I know, and I'm sick of it. So that wasn't in the original script. script, but they kept it in, which was great. But Sam Raimi was our executive producer. And if you know Sam with all the Evil Dead, he loves that kind of stuff, you know. So anything. And Bruce Campbell did like 20 episodes as well. And Bruce and I, Michael, all started directing on Hercules. That's where we cut our teeth. So.
You didn't get a phone call saying, just could you please stick to the script?
Initially.
Okay.
Initially, but Sam said, no, it's funny, let him do it. And we did it in such a way that it wasn't to piss off the writers. I mean, they were 9,000 miles away in LA. It was just, when you're not on the set with us, things happen on the set. You can read a script all you want, but when you start to block a scene, stuff happens. Which reminds me, I got to bring in my Anthony Quinn story. Anthony Quinn plays Zeus. I got to work with Anthony Quinn, which was awesome for a whole year. And at first I asked him, I said, Mr. Quinn, he got so pissed at me. An entire year, we had dinner every Saturday night at the same restaurant, Antoine's in the suburb called Parnell, outside of Auckland. I never called him Tony. He got mad. He called me Tony. I said, I can't call you. You're Mr. Quinn. And so he would not like a lot of the writing that was going on. And he didn't like blocking. A lot of times he would have me come into his camper to read with him, to rehearse the lines. And he was, I'm listening, this is crap, I'm taking this out. And he'd be crossing out paragraphs. And I'm like, and he said, I'm going to say something like this, and then you'll think of something, won't you, sweetheart? And I'm like, oh my God. So talk about having to listen. So they had this huge scene set in one of our sound stages. They built this beautiful barn. And Mr. Quinn comes on the set. They spent like 3 hours lighting this thing. They had 4 cameras set up at all these different angles. And Mr. Quinn comes in, he sits down, there's 2 bales of hay. He sits down, he's got his regal, Zeus robe on, he sits down. And so the director is just, Kevin's gonna come in with the horse, he's going over here. He starts explaining all these different things we're gonna do. And he talks like for 15 minutes. He gets done after he hears all the shots we're gonna do. And Quinn goes, yeah, I'm not gonna do any of that. You can see it, but he said, I'll appear, but I'll appear right where I'm at here in these bales of hay. Can't do. So, action. I come in with the horse, I bring it over there, I'm brushing it, he appears, son, turn around and see him, I go, what are you doing here? We also had this butting heads thing, And then I work my way over to him, I sit down on a lower bale of hay, like this. I'm looking up at my father. I'm getting goosebumps. It's one of my favorite scenes to this day.
You do have
I know. He wasn't being a jerk. He's an actor. He's an actor's actor. He said, I'm the king of the gods. I don't go to people, they come to me. And that made such perfect sense to me. And it's such a great scene, still one of my favorite scenes. And it was the very first movie we did together. We did these 5 movies. Now I asked him, I said, Mr. Quinn, you're 78 years old. Why? You've always done movies. 6 Academy Award nominations, 2 wins, Best Actor, Lawrence of Arabia, Requiem for a Heavyweight, Zorba the Greek. And I asked him, I said, why would you want to do 5 television movies? He goes, Kevin, I'm 78 years old. I've always wanted to play Zeus. When will I get the chance to play? I said, touche.
Love you, Kevin.
What's that?
Love you, Kevin.
You know what? Every time somebody says it, thank you, it reminds me, there's a live album of James Taylor. And he's a wonderful storyteller. I've seen him in concert a few times. And in between songs, he'll tell stories. But he just sings a song, and then, you've got a friend, and everybody clapped, and it died down. A woman yelled, I love you, Kevin. And everybody laughed. And he said, I love you too, but it's best we don't get to know each other. That was James Taylor. You and I can talk.
Thank you.
That was James Taylor. But I thought that was a funny line.
That's awesome. We'll go for a question over here.
Hey, the question I have for you, which did you like better doing, like acting? Was Andromeda better, or did you like Hercules better?
I'll tell you what, if I didn't have Hercules, I wouldn't have had Andromeda. So Hercules will always get the nod, That show originally was going to be 5 2-hour movies. That's all it was going to be. They didn't have any plans for it. It was part of this thing called the Action Pack. And they had Tech Wars that Shatner was producing. They had The Bandit for BJ and the Band, whatever it was. They had Midnight Run, if you guys remember that movie. The series. Midnight Run's a great movie. And Vanishing Sun, which is like a kung fu thing. But the only 2 that survived after the 5 movies that each of these series did was my show and the Midnight Sun, the Kung Fu Vanishing Sun. Well, the actor from that show, the lead actor apparently, was very difficult to work with, so they canceled it, and that's how the extra hour opened up for Xena to get that time slot, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. Isn't that freaky? Yeah. But the Universal guys told me, Sidney Sheinberg, who was the president of Universal at the time, He said, I gotta be honest with you, when we looked at all these things, we figured Hercules would be the first to go. And it shows you how much they don't know. Because by our season 3, when Xena spun off, what did all the other studios do? Robin Hood, Tarzan, Conan, Sinbad, Sheena. That's what they do. Everybody copies everybody with any kind of success.
Cleopatra 2525.
That came afterwards. That's when Hercules finished. They felt that they put that with Jack of all trades. They did half-hour shows with both those shows. But that's what people do. So, you know, they don't know. These guys don't know. Trust me. They don't know. It's all a guessing game.
Speaking of martial arts, you did martial arts training specifically for
I did.
the role.
I did. When I got the role, actually I was on I gotta tell you how I got this. It's super funny. They read 2,800 actors in North America for the role of Hercules. I had 7 callbacks on the show. So, has anybody been to Universal Studios before in LA Studios?
Ow!
Okay, when you enter to go up the hill to go find parking, there's a big black building that's 30 stories high right on the 101 freeway. I call it the building where actors go to die. Okay? That's usually where you go to meet. You're down to the last 2 or 3 people after all these things. So I was down to the last 3 guys. I walk in there, and it was frustrating for me because they never changed the script. It was always the same size, always the same scene or 2. So I walk in there, and it was a theater like this, but it was, you know, it was a theater that they watched movies on, so it was elevated, you know. Sam Raimi's in front. There was like, what, 50 people from the studio there. So I walk in, and I stood there, and I said, Mr. Raimi, you guys never give me anything new, and the script's always the same. This is something I want to change. He said, no, we like what you're doing. Let's read it again. I said, okay, it's all right. And did the scene with the other actor. And then Sam hits the woman, not just the woman next to him. And she goes, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to ask you to take your shirt off.
Yeah.
Back then, I was pretty ripped up. So I took my shirt off, and then you heard from the women, probably 2 guys saying, oh, okay. and I, being the smartest that I am with 3 brothers, I said, well, I'm a lot bigger when my clothes are off. I said,
Oh.
I put the shirt back on, and Sam Raimi looks at me and says, if you get the role, Kevin, would you shave your chest and stomach? Not overly hairy, but I got a man cover, you know. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted a man for this role. And I started They got a big laugh from them, and then they said, well, we'll be in touch either way. And I said, so I left. Next morning, I flew to Vancouver to do the finish episode with Michael Chiklis. 4 days in, I get a note from one of the PAs on set to call my manager. I called Beverly up. Beverly responds, she goes, you got the role. She's flipping out, you got the role. I walk back on the set, I look at Chiklis. I want to eat crap from you. I'm half God now. And so I went straight when I finished that. It was 2 weeks shoot up there. Went down. I had 2 months of training with Douglas Wong. Douglas Wong is one of Bruce Lee's original students. This guy's amazing. And it was all with his White Lotus Kung Fu style that he created, and weapons, all this different stuff. And then down there, we trained every single day on the set with all my guys were martial arts. All my stunt guys were amazing guys. One of them, Ben Cook, has now been the stunt double for Daniel Craig in every James Bond movie. And yeah, these guys have done amazing. So we had 3 fights pretty much every episode. And so on days we weren't filming, I'd be with the stunt. I would block a scene. I'd go 50 meters over there, and we'd do through all the fight scene. We'd talk about the fight scene and do this different stuff. So it was always working out. You're always doing it, but it was a really good system they set up.
It's remarkable the amount of physical training that goes into being able to pull off a role like that, and obviously you did it well enough to keep doing it.
It was so much fun, and the ego said I could do my stunts anyway. So
you're like,
I'll do that. Maybe I won't.
Let's go for a question over here.
Hi Kevin, my name is Michelle, and I love the fantasy stuff, love the sci-fi stuff. I also really appreciate your faith-based work, such as God's Not Dead.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you plan on doing more of that, if you wanted to speak to that.
I have done God's Not Dead. I mean, the first one I did was called What If. What If, I think, is a better movie than God's Not Dead. It's the same writers that did God's Not Dead. But it came out a couple years before, and they just didn't do a great job of promoting it. But it's a great movie. It's very funny. It's very touching. God's Not Dead was a $2 million budget. They were hoping they could get to $10 million. They made $11 million opening weekend, but ultimately it went to $140 million worldwide. Now, that's a 70 times return on its money, which is amazing. I realize that these Avenger movies make $2 billion, but a lot of people don't realize they need to get about $700 million to break even. And so yeah, they're still making a lot more money
In total dollars, percentage
but not in rate of return wise. So that 70 times return puts it number 5 in the history of every movie ever made in Hollywood. Which is amazing. I did one called that I directed that was in theaters last year called Let There Be Light, which is a very good, thank you. I got a couple copies for those who haven't seen it. I have a box of tissue nearby, trust me. But I just finished one that's in a film festival. It's not really a fake movie. It's more in the line of like a Blind Side. If you saw Green Book, do you guys see Green Book of Viggo Mortensen? Really good movie. This one's called Miracle in East Texas, and I just directed this one. And we have Lou Gossett Jr. is in it. John Ratzenberger, you guys remember Cliff from Cheers and every voice in every Pixar movie. Tyler Mane, who played Sabretooth in X-Men, he's also a wrestler. It's a great movie. It's a true story set in 1930 about 2 con men that would woo widows out of their money on fake oil wells. And everywhere they go, they sell 500% of the shares, declare a dry hole, and they split town. True story. They strike oil by mistake. Ends up being the largest oil find in the history of the world at that time, 1930. This movie's making its rounds right now at film festivals. We've won Best Film, Best Family Film, Best Romantic Comedy. They really can't pinpoint what kind of genre it is, but it's going to be in theaters in February. We've got 4 more coming out, 4 more events coming up. And I can't, one this weekend, I can't be there. It's up in Canada, I can't be there, but because I'm here with you guys. My wife, she produced it, so. I have an action one coming out in October called The Reliant, and it's got a pretty good edge to it. And I got a family movie coming out at Christmas called Bernie the Dolphin Part 2. There's not many rated G movies out there, so you guys looking for a G-rated movie for kids under 10 years old? This would
love it.
Well, I got to hang out with these dolphins. That was cool for me. That was amazing. We shot in the same location in Florida that they did the original Creature from Black Lagoon. That was cool. They had all the posters there and stuff like that. And then a month later, I was at a Comic-Con, signed autographs, and he was just 2 people away from me. The guy that was the Creature. Well, he's like 75 now, but he's still like, well, that's so cool.
Do you freak out? Do you get
That creature still, you guys seen that movie? Yeah. That's still one of the scariest looking creatures. That was back in the 50s, and it's still awesome. And I grew up on lakes in Minnesota. That freaked me out. I was like,
when you go to Comic-Cons, do you get sort of excited to see certain celebrities? You just, oh gosh. Or are you like, hey, we're all cool, let's just be cool?
There are people that I appreciate their work and stuff like that, but it's, I've done, Hercules became the most watched TV show in the world by our 3rd year. 176 countries, it was crazy. It's still in 60 countries, and Andromeda is still in 60 countries. I get invited probably 30 Comic-Cons a year, and I pick up about 6 or 7.
Thanks for choosing us.
I finally got here. I know, I've never been there. I'm excited, Tell the guys in Seattle to bring me. They've never invited me to that. Come on, man.
We have a bit of a rivalry, so.
Well, okay. Well, you got me first. There you go. But this year I had 3 in a row in Europe. But I had Vienna, Munich, and Brussels over 3 weeks. So I took the whole family, my 3 kids and wife, and we made a trip out of it. Because I lived in Munich for 1.5 years after college, and so it was neat to kind of go back and show them the old haunting grounds and show them that was my apartment right there. But it's interesting. Next year I'm doing Dubai. I've never done Dubai. I'm doing Japan. It's amazing to me, the far-reaching, and you still get family, which is incredible.
Well, you look the same. Like I could spot you. In some cases, folks age differently, but you're still well put. So I'd be like, be cool, because I still bring the hair, everything.
The cutest thing. I did a con during the Hercules. During the 90s, the Comic-Cons weren't as big as they are today. And I would only have 2 months off a year on Hercules, where I shot 10 months a year down in New Zealand. So I would do like maybe 1 a year, and I would get like the Walking deadlines. You get 500 people in line, because you got a current show. I get it, it's a hot show at that time. So I was signing at a Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. And there was 4 generations of women that came in, a 94-year-old, her 70-year-old, her 46-year-old daughter, and then she has her youngest of like 6 kids. She had a 4-year-old daughter. And the 4-year-old daughter, I sit at the table, I'm signing, the 4-year-old, she's way down there, and she goes like this to me. I said, what is it? She puts her hand. And she says, you're my hero. And I looked at her mom, can I take her home? And then her great-grandmother grabs my cheek and says, us old people think you're a fox too. Back to back. It was awesome.
That's awesome. That is good. I'm trying to remember which side was over there. There we go.
So my question is with Hercules and Andromeda, not only with your success, but also other actors and actresses who have gone on to star in other shows and movies, how does that make you feel knowing that it's had such a web or tree as time has gone by?
You know, the very first movie of Hercules we did, it was Hercules and the Amazon Women. And 5'2" Roma Downey played the Queen of the Amazon. And then she went on to do, right after that, Touched by an Angel. So my kids love The Voice. So years ago, it was like the second or third season, we got invited to go down there and go to the green room. Mark Burnett, Roma's husband, comes walking in. And he says, Roma talks so nice, it's so much fun with you and all this. We did a photo together, and I said, well, you know, Mark, before she was touched by an angel, she was touched by Hercules.
Oh!
Should have said that. He's a billionaire. He probably got to be taken out at any time. I had to say, and Lucy Liu was on my show. And we had Catherine Bell was on before she got Jag. I guess she got 10% from all those guys, didn't I? Lucy Lawless did 4 different characters before she got seen. I'll tell you the story about that. It's interesting because we had a different woman booked for that role. And she got very, very ill. And my mind is on blanking her name now. She was in the TV series Weird Science, the blonde. So, what is it?
Kelly LeBrock?
No.
No.
This is the movie. This is the TV series. Vanessa Angel, thank you. You win something from the upper luggage rack. And she got mono about a week before we started filming. She had to be hospitalized. They're flipping out. What are we going to do? And they let Lucy, because she did 4 other roles in the first 2 seasons. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Because initially we were going to shoot in South Africa. Then we're going to shoot in Australia. The New Zealand was like a last-second ad when they were looking in Australia. Somebody from the studios and Universal says, you know, we shot a movie down there. Just go to New Zealand, check it out. The dollar's pretty weak down there. We can get more bang. Because the dollar down there, $1 million New Zealand was 380,000 US. I mean, seriously, you could look like a king down there initially compared, you know. But that's how that happened. It's weird, but quite honestly, it happened for the better, I think. You know, it worked out the way it's supposed to work out. But it's interesting about being in the right place at the right time, how important that is, you know.
Gina Torres, too.
Gina Torres did about 6-7 episodes of my show, and she was on Xena as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gina was great. Gina is she still married to Lawrence Fishburne? I heard rumors. Anyway, he was filming The Matrix at the time in Australia. So when he had like a 4-day weekend, he would pop over and spend the day on the set with us. Like, aren't you tired of being on the set? You don't got to be here, you know? He's like, no, that's cool, man. He was cool.
We have 3 minutes left, and I see 2 more, so let's see if we can do this in 3 minutes. Go ahead over there.
Hi, Kevin. My name's Colleen. I grew up watching Hercules with my dad. What was your favorite crossover from any of them, whether it was Hercules and Xena or Andromeda?
I liked the ones, the trilogy did with the Golden Hind.